Mayor, thanks so much for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. I know you're very busy. You made the announcement that you will not run for a second term, and I know you spoke publicly about it, but tell us again why. What was behind the decision?
Well, thank you for chatting with me today. There was no one thing, and it would have been so much easier for me to make the decision if there were one thing. But it's something that I had just been in deep thought and prayer about for a very long time. And that really was because I didn't have the peace that I knew that I should have about seeking a second term.
My love for this city was a love planted in my heart long before I was formed in my mother's womb.
And I think part of it, like thousands and millions of people over the last year, we have really started to take stock of our lives, and really it's been highlighted just how precious life is. And we all know that, but living through a pandemic gives it a very different lens. Mm-hmm. And my father died suddenly at 55. I am 51, and I don't claim that for my life, but it certainly makes you think about how you would like to spend your days if these were the last 4 years I had on earth. And so it, is a very personal decision. My heart for Atlanta and all of the things that made me want to run for mayor will never ever go away. But I truly believe that I can still care about those things, still work on those issues and those challenges, and likely have a little more freedom to really tackle them in the way that I think they can best be addressed, from a position not as mayor of Atlanta. And I said this during my press conference when I announced, voters get to decide every 4 years. We often don't think about it in the context of elected officials getting to decide. And when I really looked at what I wanted to accomplish as mayor, how much we had accomplished as mayor, I can hold my head up high, and it's something to be said for leaving on your own terms.
You are. Is it true that you started thinking about it though in your very first year? Because you inherited things that weren't really, had nothing to do with your administration, and it was a heavy lift. The cyber attack on the city of Atlanta, the federal probe that began under the previous mayor that was ongoing. Did you start thinking about it right away? Did you think it was a mistake?
I didn't think it was a mistake, but the older I get, the more I learn to listen to myself. And sometimes it's things that I feel, sometimes it's things that I don't feel. And for whatever reason, my first year I never felt that this was a permanent place and space for me. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I thought that perhaps it was because the campaign was such a nasty campaign. And it wasn't that the work was overwhelming or too hard. I knew that it would be a challenging job. So it was none of those things, but I always felt that this was a much shorter period of time than one would think that it would be.
You came into office after a very tight race, but a lot of the races are tight. And it seemed like once the race was settled, there was an instant love affair with you. And indeed, our audience sees Atlanta's mayor as Black America's mayor, and it's been that way for some time. Did you feel the love?
I never trusted it.
Really?
Easy come, easy go. It wasn't that I didn't appreciate it, but I just know that people in the public can sometimes be fickle. They can love you one day and they can hate you the next day, and I've certainly weathered many a storm on social media, and you can tell when the trolls have been unleashed. And I often think of it just in the lens of what would I tell my kids. And sometimes let me be clear, I do appreciate it. It's very flattering, but at the end of the day, people know you from afar, and they're making opinions and judging you from afar. So it's far more important for me to be loved by my family and my friends than the public as a whole. I appreciate it, but I know that the people who claim to adore me really don't know me. And if they saw me in my kitchen and they saw me at my house, they might think very differently. So some of the best political advice I ever received was from a friend who said, no matter what decisions you make, you should always be able to go home. And that little piece of advice that I received many, many years ago has stuck with me. Because whenever I'm faced with a decision that I can't, there's no blueprint, and I can't quite know all the facts and all the things you want when you make tough decisions, I always think, can I hold my head up when I go in the grocery store? Or when I go to church, or when I go to the Little League game? Is this the best decision that allows me to go back home and be okay?
For people who want more, fine, take a break, do what you need to do, and they wonder, why not go join the Biden administration, something. They want to see you again in public life. Will we see you again in public life?
I'll never say never. I don't know what the future holds. I know that the opportunities are plentiful, but we'll see. I'll do my best to continue to be obedient and follow the path that I believe God has set before me. And for everything, there is a season. So as this season ends, I know that He's going to show me what my next season is and should be, and I just pray that I'm obedient to whatever it is that He would have me to do.